What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Warchant Transfer Portal Tracker powered by Cummins. Use the promo code TAILGATE, TAILG, numeral 8 at shop.cummins.com to save 10% off portable power stations, portable batteries, RV generators, and get some more information about a full backup home generator as well. Our great friends over at shop.cummins.com, Florida State alum, setting things up. I'm Alzon Giovanni. That is Michael Langston, as advertised on the Wake Up Warchant podcast, and we're here on YouTube talking about recruiting. A huge week, Michael, obviously, for Florida State when it comes to recruiting. Folks maybe not so patiently waiting for things to happen, but it started on Saturday with a nice strong trickle, and it carried on here into Sunday. Let's start, I guess, with Grady Kelly, committing. Obviously, a position of need for Florida State. Just how vital was it to get Grady Kelly? What do you think some of the determining factors were for him making his decision and picking Florida State?
Yeah, I think it was a big deal. It's a solid pickup. Certainly after losing Malcolm Ray to leaving to go to Rutgers, you certainly want to add to that depth. And I think when you watch his game, and he's very twitchy. He's 6'3", 293. A guy can do a lot of different things inside and out. You can even put him on the edge if you need to. He's so quick off the ball that his film just really jumps out to you. And ironically, he said he talked to Fisk about the process, and that helped him solidify it. Like, hey, this transformation is going to be easy. Going over to FSU, and they had kind of similar backgrounds, and to be honest, a lot of stuff he does is kind of similar to Braden. So I think the fit was there, and I think FSU loved him. They offered him really early, and then they got it done this weekend. I think the relationships and just seeing what the culture is around there, and seeing how he fit in there, I think he felt that. I think the football stuff was already there. I think it was just the other things, and once they checked off that, I think that's why it led to him committing today.
Like, this is not a depth piece, Michael, is it? This is a guy that I would assume they expect to compete for starting time.
Right? Yeah, he's probably gonna play a good amount of time. Certainly a guy that they feel can impact their defensive line on a lot of ways, whether it's run or his pass rush. Certainly a guy they've targeted a while since he entered the portal, and one that they feel like can help them pretty frequently, and obviously early on.
All right. He started all 12 games this past year for Colorado State, grading out at 74.6, according to our friends at PFF Pro Football Focus. Michael, another guy that, I think there's a lot of good vibes around going even back to last week, and that's Jaylin Lucas. What were some of the things that the staff you think really zeroed in with Lucas, and what do you think he zeroed in on when it came to this program?
Yeah, I think this is probably for me, one of the most important additions, so far. There's a lot of them that were really vital, but this one is just a special teams demon. You can use him a lot on at running back. You can wildcat him. You can use him even in slot, receiver, and there's the ways you can use him or just nonstop. But I think the biggest thing for me is they needed somebody that's a game changer at special teams and punt return and kick return, and that was certainly going to be something that was an opening. They didn't know who would be the guy, and I think that ends all that when you add a guy like this that's very elite. I think Big Ten Returner of the Year in 2022, just a guy that really changes your team because of what he does at special teams. I think the writing was kind of, for me, it was on the wall where this one just made too much sense. He's from Edna Carr, same school as Destin Hill and Greedy Vance, if I'm not mistaken. He's had a great relationship with David Johnson, nearly committed to FSU, but they were a little late, and he signed with Indiana. But they were highly interested in the first time, and then the second time they were able to pull it out and get it done. But I think it's just a major pickup for what can change this Florida State team, and how he can flip the field, how he can do certain things that from a speed department that's going to add a lot to this offense. It's a very electric playmaker.
And isn't he related to our guy, Ja'Kai Douglas?
He is. That's his younger brother,
Mm.
and he actually camped at FSU. I would say like 2 or 3 times. We interviewed him several times when he's camped, and like I said, he's a little more wiggly and twitchy than Jakai is. Like Jakai is good, but obviously, and he adds a little. He has a little more speed than the Jakai does. I mean, he is very electric when the ball's in his hand, and not that Jakai isn't. I think everyone loves Jakai, but this might be even to another level with Jaylin. He's a little smaller, shorter, probably, but I think overall is as electric as you can get.
Just how important is it, Michael, for him to be so multidimensional, for him to have that special teams kind of element to his game? And is the versatility really what sold the staff on needing to add him to the class?
Yeah, I think they wanted somebody that was an all-purpose guy, whether it's a receiver or a running back or whatever. I think obviously with Jalen, he's an all-purpose running back, and I think it was very important to them to add. We know how big special teams is to Mike Norvell, and I think that was certainly a driving force. That once he entered the portal, was kind of like, okay, we need to get it done. Penn State was certainly after him. Mississippi State was after him. He visited both of those places. He was coveted, because of what he does, and FSU was able to have the connections and then get it done and just nail it down. I've heard he's actually already enrolled, Aslan. He's actually in the team meetings. This is what Matt Sear was telling me earlier today. So, this was kind of like almost like a foregone conclusion. I think that FSU is going to get him, but it's kind of moving fast with a lot of these, pieces with FSU, whether it's Earl Little Jr., Jalen Brown, and now Jaylin Lucas and Grady Kelly today. Side note on Grady Kelly, he's like he's rushing back to Denver to get all his stuff, and he's coming right back. So he will be back here probably early next week. So these guys certainly a strong day already for FSU.
Lucas listed at according to our friends. Keep saying friends. Not everybody's our friend. We're very picky about who we associate with, but ESPN's got him listed at 5'9", 170. And again, 275 yards on the ground, 247 receiving, 572 yards on the kickoff game. And Grady Kelly, by the way, he's from Navarre, so he's a little
Yeah,
bit of a homecoming for that young man. That's cool always to see here. All right,
Panhandle.
Michael, as we talk about things right now on Sunday evening here, there's potential for more down the road, but maybe in the immediate future, do you think? Who are some of the other names that you're keeping an eye on and fans should keep an eye on as we push here into the next week of this month?
Well, I would say defensive back Devontae Brown out of Miami. That's a guy that another kid that's American heritage. Seems like an American heritage party. There you got Earl Little and then Marvin Jones Jr. Devontae's a part of that. He played there. Very good seasons, I think, with Central Florida, but then wasn't so good at Miami. But that's a name I've heard quite frequently in the last 48 hours that I feel like it's trending towards FSU. That something could be imminent as far as him joining the fold. He can play safety or corner, so I could see them probably working him at both, and then seeing what place is the best for them. Certainly, being American Heritage, Patrick Surtain probably knows him very well as far as what the skill is. He's very tight with. I know the Brown family is very tight with Randy Shannon. They go way back. I think Randy coached his brother. So I think there's a lot of ties there that are good. Like I said, UCF seemed to be a very attractive prospect, and then Miami wasn't so. It didn't go so well at Miami, but overall, a guy that brings size, certainly has the playmaking ability, as we saw when he was at UCF, and kind of see where you go there if it is FSU like we think it is. But that's one that's probably coming up. Um, obviously,
Do you
we're
think?
waiting. Go ahead.
Is Brown? Does he project more as a cornerback? Do you think he would be a safety for them right now?
I
Or
think he's more of a safety, but that's really going to be up to FSU. I don't know what their plans are, but I can sense him more as a safety when I watch him. Um, but we'll see. We kind of just have to wait and see what if he does pick FSU and he goes there, kind of see where they start him out at. But I see more of a safety when I watch him.
all right. Any other names perhaps in the hopper here? Or is that the front of the line right now? I think is going to be Devontae.
No, I think the other ones we're waiting on is Stephon Thompson, a linebacker from Syracuse that visited FSU this week. Visited also Nebraska. I talked to a few Nebraska contacts, and they were like, they feel like FSU's in a good spot, even going into that Nebraska visit. So that's kind of their feelings of if FSU wants them, it feels like there's a good chance they would get him. That's
They
kind of the
want him, right? I would think.
I would think so. I would think so. I mean, he has everything. I mean, loved what I saw as far as his framework. His production is certainly right there. You would think so. I have not heard anything to lead me to believe don't want him or they didn't covet him. So I would feel they do. So that's kind of what we have on the Thompson kind of situation right now. And like I said, he could decide today or soon. So that's one we're waiting on. Then a few other guys, West Virginia defensive end. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that.
Mm,
It's
mm.
called I want to say Tomwa, yeah, something like that. I'll let Aslan take it over from there. But defensive end from West Virginia, he visited over the weekend. That's a guy that visited Auburn as well. Had several visits lined up. He might have had one more after the FSU one. That's one that I think is one of their highest targets at the defensive end edge position. Very important guy that I feel like if they get that guy, it really solidifies their room. You already have Marvin, and then they could potentially get one more. Oregon State's defensive end, DJ DJU's teammate, visited on I want to say Saturday, and everything I've heard is that visit went really well. There's there's cautious confidence. I've heard that he might take another visit, but I wasn't told exactly where. But I guess on the West Coast if he was heading back home. So that's kind of something we'll watch. But he's the guy that also was in the picture that FSU liked. So I think they're really addressing this edge position. We're also waiting on Zion Young, who visited Friday out of Michigan State. That's another one that they're very involved with. So, and I've been told that FSU feels like they're very much in it for all three of them. So, if you can get two out of those guys, add in what you have with Marvin, I think that's a home run as far as what you're looking for, or at least you're addressing it fully at that position. That's probably the number one need for FSU, coming into this portal season. So those things are coming up. Wide receiver Benson is actually on campus right now. Or Matt Lassier is out there still waiting to get up with him.
Mm.
He should get up with him soon. He visited Florida before FSU. We'll see how that visit went. Probably concludes around later tonight. But um, like I said, a lot of stuff going on. They're probably waiting for probably like three or four of these decisions that could come down the pike, so they could get even better news coming up. So as you can tell, a lot of guys, a lot of situations, a lot of recruitment still going on. They're expected to host Alabama running back Roydell Williams over there.
Mm.
He's supposed to come in next weekend. So that's another one that I've heard FSU is mainly locked in on him. So that's a guy that I think they've kind of put the target lock on. And I know Alabama's trying to keep him like they did Earl Little, but he's expected to be in there next weekend. So I think overall, Aslan, they're hitting on the needs. If you look at every position, they're getting one of each one.
Mm.
Grady Kelly, defensive tackle. Defensive end. They already got Marvin Jones. You picked up a wide receiver in Jalen Brown. Might have more coming, and then you obviously have the special teams thing. You hit on that. So there's a lot of positions I think they're hitting on. There's still some left, I think, for what they can do either with the decisions that are coming up the next few days or next week with the January, finishing off on that weekend. And then there's some stuff they can do in May. But I think overall, FSU fans should be pleased of how they're addressing the needs and the holes that they have in this roster.
Tomiwa Durojaye
There
is
you
what we're
go.
going to go with.
I like it.
64.7 grade out here at PFF this past year, but I got plenty of burn, 270 snaps with West Virginia. He's listed on the Mountaineers website at 6'4", 278 pounds. Zion Young, 6'6", 265 out of Atlanta's Westlake. Dude, and I want to say, Michael, I know we get a lot of questions whenever we do those live recruiting chats.
Yeah.
Man, one of our guys out there in Atlanta mentioned this kid because the name Zion is not obviously that common. So I could
No.
have sworn someone asked about him. So that's kind of cool to see that maybe become a full circle thing. And then also, obviously, you mentioned Sion Lololahe from Oregon State. Who are the teams that are in the mix? Do we know the other teams? I think, did they say that Zion Young was at Georgia visiting as well? Do you know some of the
Yeah,
other
he
schools?
visited Georgia, and then he went to FSU, and then he went to Missouri. So I think those are. the main teams. I've heard more about Missouri and FSU. So I've kind of felt like Missouri was like their main competition, and then with the Oregon State defensive end, West Coast, I've heard a little bit. I haven't confirmed it, but Southern Cal was a team that was mentioned a few times to me with him, that a potential visiting place, but I don't know for sure where he's visiting for sure. But I do know they FSU felt good about how the visit went. So certainly having DJ there helps. By the way, DJ is already on campus. If those are wondering, he arrived on Sunday, so he's certainly there. And all the guys that they've got commitments from are on campus. So that you got to believe that does help some with FSU's chances with him. But a lot of activity, and you can really see that FSU is hoping to lock down this edge position, before they hit that May period. I mean, that's the sense I get, Aslan, that they really want to knock this down because that's the number one need. They really just want to nail it.
Yeah. Do these guys seem more of the mold of like edge setters to you, Michael, or are these guys more twitchy pass rushers coming off the edge?
I think Zion's more of a pass rusher. And then I think Zion could do that. He's certainly effective doing that. His size kind of leads me to believe he sets edges more than he does the pass rushing stuff. But and then I think with Tom, he kind of does a little bit of both. I mean, he is, like I said, the for me the highest guy, that I like. I just love
Okay.
what Tom does, and he's very coveted. That's a guy that they've been pretty high on. FSU's talked to him immediately since he hit the portal, and there's been a strong activity with him. But I think all three are guys that they certainly like. Now, will they take all three? Probably not that many, but would they take two of them? Yeah, I could see that happening. Get two out of the three. I think that locks down your position.
Or then ultimately, Michael, again, there's more work to be done here. Hit the thumbs up. Everybody would appreciate
Yeah,
that. Um, you know, but all in all, a kind of a good response. This coaching
yep,
staff talks about responding when things maybe don't go their
yes,
way.
yes,
The running back from Toledo, I don't know,
yeah,
it's Toledo ends up going to Louisville. They missed out
right.
on the defensive end that ends up going to Texas A&M. So they were going after the top dogs in this cycle, and they weren't able to make it happen. But these other guys that they're kind of exploring right now, these also seem to be players that are high enough caliber to be able to plug and play and keep this thing rolling. They hope.
Yeah, I think solid response. You look at it, a lot of these guys, Earl Little's from Alabama, Marvin Jones is from Georgia. You're still recruiting offensive lineman Terrence Ferguson, who visited FSU. He also visited Oklahoma. That's another one I'm waiting on. So you've got a lot of these guys that pair at premier programs, and they're top guys. So yes, there's been some misses. Penny Boone, they missed on that. Nick Scorington, they missed on that. But you're going to miss some because of the way college football is, where other teams are actively going to get you, and sometimes things don't work in your advantages, where it's location or situation. So I mean, the main thing is just having a plan for whatever you do, and I think FSU's done a really good job of dissecting what they want, but taking their time to make sure this guy fits everything we want. So I think it's a great response so far. I think it could be a really good response if you can get the linebacker from Syracuse and then maybe add one more edge guy or two. Two would be like home run. But if you get the linebacker and you get the edge guys done, I think that's a great situation. I do think they still want an experienced receiver. Jalen Brown, we talked about, very talented, but still very young. Still, basically, you're getting another high school kid, in my opinion, because he's got 4 years. But I think you would like an experienced receiver and probably a big body receiver.
Yeah.
You'd like more big bodies in there to work with. So I think that's kind of the next thing in May, in my opinion, of what FSU does is go out there and look at and see if a guy emerges in May when all these guys finish spring practice, and then bam, somebody pops in there between that May 1st, May 15th window. I can see that one of the positions that they go after. Offensive tackle is another thing. So I think they're closer, and a majority of this I think is going to likely get done, but there's still going to be work to do. And but I think it was a great response. Right to your what you alluded to, I think it was a great response by FSU. Try to tell people, relax, let the coaches do their job. They're going to get the guys. So certainly the good news is certainly starting to roll in the last few days with FSU picking up 4 commits.
And we're probably going to hang out again on Monday, I bet, doing one of these videos, probably. Sounds like. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Michael, but sounds
Okay,
like, right?
we'll see.
We will see how it goes. Stay connected, everybody, to the premium recruiting board over on warchant.com. And check out shop.cummins.com. Use that promo code TAILGATE, TAILG, numeral 8, and save 10% off. They're great items like their portable power stations, their RV generators, their portable generators. Get all the information you need to get your house backed up as well. So check them on out. For Michael Langston, I'm Aslan Hajavani. Thanks again for watching this edition of the Warchant Transfer Portal Tracker powered by Cummins.